Welcome to AGT time, where it's always time for AGT. Cody Patterson here,
along with Jay Bach. We're going to do some off-season podcasts, I guess, touch on a little like AGT related news and then some AGT adjacent entertainment in the world.
Yeah, I'm a little bit excited about tonight. When I first heard this movie coming out and I saw who was starring in it, I reached out. I was like, Jay, we got to cover this movie. So
Somebody's got to.
somebody's got to. No one else out there is doing it. So two middle-aged guys watched a teen rom-com for the listeners.
Now, I don't know where middle age starts, but I'm like mid to late 30s. So
Okay. I'm early 40s. So
one middle-aged guy and a younger, handsome man.
yeah, okay, we'll go with that. But before we get into that, we do have some news we wanted to go over with you all because there's been some developments since we went off the air from Champions 2. So kind of just want to talk through that for a couple minutes before we got into our movie review. First off, we have a judge back that was not on season 14. Got to get my seasons right here. And then we have a new judge. So did you hear who's coming back, Jay?
Yeah, Heidi's coming back, right?
Right, Heidi will be back. So she was back for Champions 2, and now she's going to come back for season 15.
Yes, and I'm sure we'll talk more about it, but assuming that 15 comes back.
Yeah,
right?
so that's the other piece of news in just a moment. But then we have we have a new judge that's replacing, well, one of the
Mel
two
B.
judges that left. Yeah, probably Mel B. Yeah, and then we had Alicia for Champions. So I guess Alicia had to go back and do Britain's Got Talent. So now we have Sofia Vergara filling in.
Yes, and like I don't know Sophia real well. Like I've seen her as a character, or like I'm aware of who she is because she's
Yeah,
just kind of one of those big personalities that once
right,
you know who she is, you don't forget her.
right.
Uh,
So
Based on that, I'd say I'm pretty excited to see her. I think she'll be a lot of fun.
I think she'll be a lot of fun. So she's it was a big star on Modern Family for its 10, 11 season run, something like that. She was some main cast member on Modern Family, which I find very interesting because we just had someone on AGT who I kept referring to as Manny from Modern Family, and now we have Manny's mom for Modern Family.
I wonder if
Uh,
maybe those producers were listening and some seed was planted deep in
that
some back lobe of their brain.
that would be fascinating to know if they were listening to our podcast and was like, we need to get someone from Modern Family on here. But yeah, Sofia Vergara will be a lot of fun. She's great on Modern Family. I think she'll bring a lot of energy. Um, Other than acting, I'm not sure what her other talents are. We have Howie that's a comedian. We have Heidi that's a fashion model. But I'm not sure what. I'm not like she can't do it. I'm just interested to see what she's going to bring to AGT.
Yeah, and there is something to be said for people who are in and around talent and in and around the Hollywood scene. Like they're going to have opinions about what is talent, and just through exposure have a pretty good sense of what's good and what's not. So I'm optimistic. I'm generally a pretty optimistic guy anyhow. So looking forward to seeing a new face on the screen. Maybe this one's gonna just blow our socks off. I'd love it.
Yeah, I think anytime we've had a judge change, I've always been optimistic about the change. I'm always excited to see um, the new judges that come in. It's when we get into the season and actually see them after a couple of episodes that I then turn a little pessimistic or change my tune. But I'm always excited about the change. I'm always sad to see certain judges go. I thought Gabrielle and Julianne did a fine job last season. There was apparently some issues with them in production, but that's neither here nor there. But I think Sophie will do a fine job, and I think Heidi, of course, Heidi. We love Heidi.
We love Heidi. She's a good talent at the judges table. Agreed. Yep.
Absolutely. So to kind of go along with that, there was some news about 4 days ago that with the coronavirus that's been going around, that they've halted production. They've so we're not sure what that's going to do for the airing of AGT. We don't know when or even if it's going to air come the summer. At one time, they said they were going to do um, the recordings. They were going to tape it without any audience. And I think a day later, they then said, we're just going to stop production altogether. So it's unknown. It's uncertain what's going to happen. Jay and I are hopeful that AGT can come back this season because, we want to do a podcast. We love talking about this show.
Yeah, but as we're going to prove tonight, we will be able to find AGT, America's Got Talent, adjacent things to fill your eardrums with.
Yep.
Hopefully, off season at least once a month or so. We want to come in and produce some content for you guys, and remind you that we're still out here, and maybe tickle you a little bit with with some behind the scenes goings on. So we'll talk about it tonight, but we've mentioned that Howie's got a animals doing things show that might be good. I'm sure that there's plenty of other AGT contestants producing material that we could watch and review and share with you guys. So I guess, kind of behind the scenes, like, how has your life changed? What's going on in Tennessee regarding the coronavirus?
Well, it hasn't hit us as bad as has hit other places, but a lot of things are shut down. Our company is having a lot of us work from home these days, which is, being in IT, it's something we're very capable of doing. We have all the tools, all the resources that we need in order to work from home. Our church, we had church last week, but this week we're going to an online only. So it's basically going to be me, a preacher, and an elder there doing the online thing and streaming it out to all of our members. A lot of stores have shut down, but kind of in our area, life is still going on. Schools are closing down, but people are still kind of just doing their thing. It's scary. It's uncertain what's going to happen, but we're still trying to kind of just get through all this.
Yeah. I'll say, here, like, small town Iowa, there's no cases particularly close to us, nothing within like an hour and a half, I want to say. So, we're not in imminent danger, but this week that we are talking right now was our spring break week, and we've got 3 weeks after this where there's no school. So Rebecca, the school librarian, my wife, and me, the substitute teacher, we're just home with the kids. So in some ways it's a blessing, and we're trying to have a lot of fun with it. And this week we're kind of saying, it's spring break, like, let's go ahead and have a little bit of a break, but come next week I think we're going to try and build a little bit more structure in for the kids, and sort of define the time and keep them active and busy and engaged and growing, instead of just lazing around watching Disney Plus all the time. So
yeah, well, you can kind of just look at this as an extra, treat it kind of like summer break, or an extended spring break. Parents are doing a good job at kind of keeping their kids busy. A lot of funny things out there, but we're gonna kind of do something a little light tonight. Before we get into talking about Stargirl with Grace Vanderwaal, we got to do some quick business. So just as a reminder, we're on Twitter, AGT Time. I'm on there at Cody L. Patterson. Jay's on there at One Man Bander. Guess what? We have a one-man bander in this movie. So
that's right.
And then we're on Facebook, AGT Cast. Our email address, agtcast@gmail.com. And new for season 15, which we're introducing tonight, we have a PayPal set up. So if you would like to donate to us to kind of, it costs us money to provide a podcast, to get it hosted, the equipment we need, just donations. We're not We don't have ads or commercials or anything of that nature. So if you want to donate and help us pay for our hosting and provide you guys content, we'd really appreciate it. So you can just send that to agtcast@gmail.com, and it should just get deposited right in there. We'd really, really appreciate that. So, Jay, you got anything else before we get into this movie?
Man, I don't think so. I'm in pretty good shape. So
Okay.
we'll
Well,
yeah, jump in.
okay. So we're going to talk about Stargirl, which stars Grace Vanderwaal, season 12 winner. I should have probably written that down. Does that sound right? Season 12 winner?
Yeah, let's go with that.
Okay.
Or 11.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, two guys covering AGT, and we don't even know when Grace won AGT. So, anyway, AGT winner, cute little. I think she was 12 years old at the time. Plays the ukulele, has a nice, soft-spoken voice. Everybody loved her. We covered her season here on AGT Time. Sorry, Jay, that was before you came on board, but I know you would have loved to have talked about Grace at that time.
Yeah, that's let's see, 2016 is when she won. So
Okay.
and yeah, 12 at the time. So
Okay.
growing up right in front of our eyes.
Yep. I remember talking about her quite a bit. Big deal that I made of Grace is that she always got the white microphone, and she always performed at the end of the episode, and it seemed like everything was going right for Grace on season 12. So I think she was deserved winner. I think she's kind of done well for herself. She's now a movie star. So we'll kind of talk about her movie here for the next little while.
Yeah. So her character in the movie is a girl named Stargirl. Kind of shows up in this town, or she's been hanging around the town, maybe it seems. And
I have so many questions about this, Jay.
Well, what I was going to say is that
go ahead.
this character is kind of a quirky, off the wall, hard to tell who, what her motivations are kind of girl. And I feel like Grace, the real person, is a fantastic job, just the right person to fill this role. She's this 12-year-old ukulele player that is writing songs, and is a very strange, unique talent. There's not a lot of 12-year-olds in the world that are that have that quirkiness that she does, and I thought that the casting of her in that role was very well done.
Yeah, I think it fit her well. I kind of did a little research on this movie, and she was not the original choice for this movie.
Oh, really?
No. It's based on a novel that was written in 2000, written by Jerry Spinelli.
Yeah.
So a lot of the things that happened in this movie are basically are it mirrors the novel very closely. There's a few changes that are made, but she was not the first choice. And then they originally was going to release this, I think, around 2015. Some things got put to the side. They changed some things up and decided to recast it with Grace. And then I think they started recording started filming in fall of 2018. And then this got released in middle of March in 2020, which is about the time that we're recording this. So it's interesting that she was not the first choice, but I think you're right that she fits this role, that she mirrors this role perfectly.
Yep. I think she does beautifully. The one other thing that I wanted to say, my wife, being the librarian that she is, has read the book. And as we were watching the movie together, she said, "Oh yeah, I remember thinking the book was kind of unbelievable and kind of slow." And I feel the same about the movie.
Yeah, this movie is around an hour and 45, and I'm just gonna jump to the very end and say it was a long hour and 45. It was a long hour and 45.
Yeah, I agree.
I told Jay that I actually watched this movie twice.
Right.
Yeah, I watched it first time just to kind of watch it as a movie. to be just entertained, kind of in not have the interruptions of taking notes. And then I watched it again and to take all the notes for the movie. So for you listeners and for you, Jay, I watched this movie twice.
Well, good work.
So this movie, as we say, stars Grace Vanderwaal. It also stars Darby Stanchfield, Giancarlo Esposito, Graham Vercheer, Shelby Simmons, Karan Brar, Maximiliano Hernandez. Do you recognize any of these people?
No, I do not.
Okay. The big one that stuck out for me was Giancarlo Esposito. He's been in lots of things I've watched, but he's mainly known as Gus Fring from Breaking Bad.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so his
Uh, I watched like 3/4 of an episode of Breaking Bad, and I didn't fall in love with it fast enough, so we dropped it.
okay. He comes in later in the series, and he's one of the big villains that appears late in the series. He's also on the Better Call Saul, Breaking Bad's prequel series. He's
Right.
excellent, excellent, excellent actor. He did some time on the short-lived Wonderland. Was it not the Alice in Wonderland TV series? Once Upon a Time in Wonderland. Um,
Okay.
yeah, he played the uh, the the mirror on the wall. He played the evil queen's mirror in that.
Okay.
But he's most famous for Breaking Bad. Then you had Darby Stanchfield, and I know her more from Mad Men. She played a side character on Mad Men. Um, Played like a nemesis, not really a nemesis, but kind of this neighbor of the Drapers that would
Okay.
come over and had this kind of weird, quirky son. So I know her more from that. And then you have who else did I have here? Gotta get my listing back up.
Yeah, I
Graham
didn't.
Vercheer, he's I think a Disney star. Same thing with Shelby and Karan Brar. They're all Disney stars. So very familiar with the
Okay.
Disney world.
Yeah, yeah. And Disney tends to recast the same people over, and find fits for them, and that's fine.
Yeah.
So uh that's cool. I was not familiar with those shows, or like, I guess I'm familiar with Breaking Bad and familiar with uh um Mad Men. Like, those are huge blockbuster kind of productions, but I have not watched them. So sorry.
Yeah. So if you do go ever watch those, or if any of y'all have ever watched those, you'll recognize them from those. Now, they don't play those types of characters in this, which I was a little disappointed. I wanted Gus Fring to kind of make an appearance in this, and that didn't happen. So
That didn't happen.
we'll get more into Archie in a little bit. But yes, as I think Jay you were saying earlier, this is about it's a teen coming of age type movie where the boy all of a sudden becomes infatuated with this mysterious girl that just appears out of nowhere, and um,
Yeah. um
kind of changes the culture of their high school.
yeah, she leaves a big wake behind her. And yeah, I don't know, should we read through the plot and kind of make comments as we look at that?
Sure, go ahead. Yeah.
I'm looking at the Wikipedia entry here for
Okay.
Stargirl to
Okay.
give credit where due. So when Leo Borlock's father passed away, he began to wear a porcupine tie in remembrance of him. When school started, he was beaten up and his tie was cut up. Since then, on his birthday, he would receive a new porcupine tie from a mystery person, but he would not wear them in public. In high school, Leo plays the trumpet in the marching band. Should we stop and talk first? Any thoughts on the porcupine tie so far?
Yeah. So, did you wear ties when you were in high school?
No. Nope.
Okay, I did. I went to school in the high school in the early to mid 90s. Ties were apparently a big thing to wear to high school during that time. So, I would wear a tie every now and then to high school with jeans and like a button down type shirt. And I had like a trumpet tie that I would wear.
Yeah.
because I was in the marching band. So I'd obviously have a
Okay.
trumpet tie. Did you have a favorite tie at all that you would wear as a high schooler?
Man, no. I feel like I had one that had a Tasmanian devil on it, but
There you go.
I
Yeah.
cannot. That sounds like that would fit the era of when ties were fashionable. So,
Yeah. Yeah. So this kind of related to me very well to wear a tie, and he was wearing a tie in honor of his father, which I completely get, and it gets cuts up by some bullies after he and his mom moved to some small town in New Mexico. Yeah,
Arizona, I want to say.
Arizona. Yeah,
New
yeah.
Mexico. Um, yeah. So, um, no, I the only time that I was a tie wearer was my short stint as a funeral director. So, I got pretty good at the the Windsor and the half Windsor, and that's about it though. So
Well, the episode opens on a marching band, and the marching band they have some work to do, Jay.
they're not good.
They're not good. No.
It, it
They're out
so
of formation. They're out of tune. It's like you
this
see
kind of
the
reminds me of my high school marching band. I was a tuba player, and we put 25, 30 of us out there on a good year, and we forced our way through it. But you do the best you can with what you got. My brother was a trumpet player,
Mhm.
and also starting lineman for the football team, and we needed him on the field at halftime. So
Ooh, no
he
break for him.
right, and again, we're just a teeny tiny school in northwest Iowa, so he would be playing offense as center and defense as nose, and then he'd come in and play marching band at halftime and go back out and play both sides in the second half. Like he was it was a big night for him. So uh, like but that's what you got to do, when you're in a small town, when the band needs you, you gotta play. So
Yeah.
um it's kind of what it looks like here. This school might be a little bit more I don't think there's any of the football players that also moonlight with the marching band,
No, I
and
didn't
vice
see that in
versa.
here. No. But yeah, this was a small band. I think I paused it and counted about 18 members in their band.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
So
So
yeah, we were like time and a half that, so a little bit bigger.
but then he started getting ties starting on his ninth birthday, and he got them every year up until his 16th birthday. Like on his
Yeah,
birthday, these ties would just show up in some, I'm not going to say fancy box, but just some customized, designed, painted box. They would just show up on his front door mysteriously.
yeah. And it was clear that it wasn't his mom either, which you know it, she's the only person in his life that seems like would be the one that would do that. So mysterious things showing up, and cool though, right? Like makes you feel loved, feel like there's a little bit of magic out there.
Right. But you can also be kind of confused about, who's leaving me ties with no note. They're just in these boxes. And I think one he even comments that one of the boxes had a trumpet painted
Right.
on there. So this person, whoever it may be, we'll find out who it is. But this person apparently knows Leo, knows things about Leo, which seemed a little weird and creepy that this person
Yeah.
would leave these and know things about Leo. So
Right. Okay. We'll read on here. In high school, Leo plays trumpet in the marching band and helps his friend Kevin Singh, a member of the AV club, host a show called Hot Seat, which we
yes,
alluded to. You may have noticed in our introduction. So
welcome to Hot
one
Seat.
day, a free-spirited girl named Stargirl Caraway arrives and quickly makes an impression on Leo when she sings "Happy Birthday" to him on a ukulele in front of the entire school over lunch. Right?
Okay, I'm going to stop there.
Okay.
So, okay, so questions. Okay, where did she come? Okay, I'm going to kind of go back just a little bit
Sure.
because he shows up to school and people start asking, "Hey, did you see her?" And he seems very confused. And then there's some banter between him and his friend Kevin. and then it's not real clear who they're talking about, and then they completely dismiss it. So I'm not sure if they're playing a joke on him or what's going on here. But it seemed like they're talking about some girl, and he's talking about some girl, but we don't know if they're talking about the same girl.
Right. And I apparently that was all over my head because I missed that conversation. Uh, I did enjoy her rendition of "Happy Birthday" on the ukulele, though.
Yes, so that was really good. That's the other question I have is this mysterious girl shows up, and then all of a sudden she knows who he is, that it's his birthday, and then she just gets up and starts singing "Happy Birthday" to him.
Yeah, that's weird, right?
Yeah, yeah.
But I think like, if I were to be in his shoes, like, that would put a smile on my face. I think I would appreciate the gesture.
I'm not sure I would. I just probably would look at her, and I mean, it's really bad, but I'd probably look at her like, that was really weird. It would be a nice thing. Yes, it'd feel like maybe a nice thing, but also be like, that's really weird because I don't know who you are, and I don't know why you're singing to me.
Right. And so, that mystery, I think, is kind of what propels her propels her character forward. Is, like, who are you? Where do you come from? What's your motivation? Like, a lot of the game, a lot of the movie is trying to figure out who she is.
Yeah, and I don't know if I don't think we ever got that answer. I think it felt like they skipped over quite a bit.
Yeah. I would agree with that, but I think it's designed to leave you with questions at the end.
Okay.
Is she magic?
Okay. Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I think that's the conversation that we could have.
Okay.
The scene coming up where she seems to be able to make rain happen, and
Yes.
she seems to be able to make snow happen.
Yes.
And she has a real ability to empathize with people.
Yes.
Is that magic, or was it coincidence, or did she, like, read the weather forecast and just position things to happen at the right time?
Yeah. So at this point, I'm confused. So
okay.
what happens next?
We're all confused. Okay. Later, while their football team, the Mud Frogs, who are notorious for their losing streak, are playing a game, Stargirl comes out and performs a song, "Be True to Your School," that energizes them and causes them to make their first win. Kevin suggests to Leo to invite her onto his show, but she politely refuses.
Okay, I want to stop there.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is another question I had is, why does he want her to come on the show? Is she a celebrity? Is she someone that they know? And because he seems like he seems infatuated with her, like that he wants her to come on the show like she's something special, but we don't know anything about her at this point.
Well, the hot seat's all about asking questions, and he's got questions.
Yeah, we all have questions.
Right. So every viewer is like, yes, perfect. He's going to be on the hot seat. We're going to find out what's going on. And then she politely refuses. No, thanks.
Yes. But that's what I was like. Why does he want her to come on there? What does he know that we as watchers of this do not know? And coming on there may answer those questions, but I would kind of like a little insight of, hey, I want her to come on the show because of this reason, not just, hey, she seems interesting. Well, why does she seem interesting?
Well, if you're in a school with 32 people in your graduating class, like, most of them have already been on the hot seat, and we've got some fresh blood here. Like, please, let's get her on the show, huh?
Yeah. Let's get the new girl on there that we don't know anything about, because I'm guessing that as an interviewer, you should already know some things about your guest so that you know what questions to ask.
Well, when she does eventually join them on the hot seat, I don't think is a very good interviewer, is what it turns out to be.
Right.
Okay, what do you think of the song "Be True to Your School"?
I like that song, and I didn't know this at first, but that's a Beach Boys song.
Yeah.
Yeah. I did not know this was a Beach Boys song. I actually I like it. It's a good song. I like the way that she sang it. It fits well with her ukulele. I thought it fit well with her voice. She did a really good job.
Yeah, I enjoyed the song. I thought that it was a really pleasant rendition of it. I was familiar with the Beach Boys version, so um, you know, the one thing about this movie that uh, I have to say, like, yeah, apparently she is magical. Everybody could hear her. They could.
Yes.
The crowd could clap along, and everybody could hear her just fine. So
Yes. Yes.
clearly,
Uh,
there's some kind of magic or shenanigans going on.
yeah. So she's out on the football field by herself with her ukulele at halftime, and everyone can hear her just fine. Like
Yep,
she's
energizes the whole crowd.
energizes the whole crowd. So the football team's still out there, the band's out there, the cheerleaders are out there. She's dancing around. People look at her at first like, well, what is she doing? But then all of a sudden, for I don't understand what reason, they get into it.
Yep, yep. Uh, and I do want to back up one other thing here
Okay.
to say. I believe it was the principal was giving an announcement to the school prior to the football game, and they cut into her speech, and she says, "As a result, we'll no longer be serving sloppy joes on Wednesdays."
Yes.
What's the beginning of that sentence?
Do what?
What is the beginning of that sentence that ends with,
Right.
"As a result, we'll no longer be serving sloppy joes on Wednesdays"?
I think you're supposed to use your imagination a little bit.
Right. So use your imagination for me. Tell me
Okay,
what it could
fine.
possibly be.
Come on. I work in IT. I don't have much of an imagination.
Oh, man.
Kind of along that same line, that same area, they also talk about him getting his first car, or I guess getting the was it the Geo? Was it is that what he was getting?
Yeah, his little Geo Metro.
Yeah. So Jay, what was your first car?
It was a Ford Aspire. It looks a lot like a Geo Metro.
Mine was, and this was handed down to me, and it's not pompous at all. Mine was a 1978 Mercedes Benz 450 SEL. This
Ooh.
thing was a tank. It was huge. It was heavy, and I could carry a lot of friends in it.
My little four-seater Aspire had I think 87 horsepower, probably down to 78 by the time it got to me. Like it was a tiny little go-kart of a car, but the hatchback, you can put a lot of stuff in a hatchback.
Yep, yep. You hang a lot of things out of the hatchback.
Yeah. So no, the little Geo Metro that made me smile. So
Uh, so she finishes her song. Halftime's over. Everyone's into it, and then all of a sudden, the Mud Frogs they start winning.
yeah, Stargirl becomes the good luck charm for the football team when she sings "We Got the Beat," which apparently happened at the next game.
Yeah.
Uh,
So that'll happen later on.
well, I was just starting to read on in the next paragraph of our Wikipedia entry here. So,
Okay. Let's.
uh,
I've got some other things before we get to that.
all right, let's do that.
So Leo goes and talks to Archie, Giancarlo Esposito, and Archie lives out in the desert, and I'm guessing he's an archaeologist.
Sure. Uh huh.
Okay. He digs up dinosaur bones. And Archie knows who Stargirl is. I don't know how. Well, I think he mentioned that she came. It was like she did his camp, but her and Leo didn't do the camp at the same time because of schedules or whatever.
Yeah. Really unclear why they didn't cross paths before this. Um, but yeah, so he's the archaeologist, like quirky uncle, father figure, you know, shades of Doc from Back to the Future, maybe.
Yeah,
uh,
it's just this guy Leo goes and just hangs out with in the desert.
ain't no problem. I'm just
Yeah.
gonna go hang out with the weird old guy. Like, it's cool.
So they must have filmed this at the same time that Giancarlo Esposito was doing Better Call Saul, because it takes place in New Mexico. This is in New Mexico, so it's all out in the desert. He's probably out there cooking up some stuff. Uh, it's still family friendly, so if you've seen Breaking Bad or Better Call Saul, you'll know what that is. But yeah, he knows these two, but they've never crossed paths. He explains that Stargirl was homeschooled, but then I think we find out later on that she wanted to go to school because she wanted to make friends.
Yep.
So she starts going to high school, and that happens all the time. Kids
Yep.
are homeschooled for
And
a while, and then they decide they want to go to high school.
his advice to Leo was go talk to Stargirl.
Yeah.
So
So he does.
his
Um,
very sage advice from a very
yes.
sage man.
So then the next day, the next school day, Stargirl and Leo are in school, and all of a sudden the cheerleaders they wanna talk to Stargirl.
Yeah, he tries to talk to her, but she's surrounded by everybody. And was it his buddy said, "You better go talk to her before she gets too popular."
That's right. That's right. So I found it interesting that the cheerleaders wanted her to join, and I had visions of Mean Girls in this for some reason.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
I could see that.
Yeah, she's the quirky new girl that's come in, and the big popular cheerleaders. But I will say, this type of movie didn't have any of those teen cliche, mean girl, popular girl thinking they're better than the other types of girls. They didn't have any of that in this type of movie.
Uh, there was the one girl who had the issue with Stargirl, which
Yeah,
was a major plot point. But
yeah, and I think it was legitimate.
yeah, and
Yeah,
she's the outlier as well. Like that's
yeah.
yeah. So
Everybody seemed to get along in this movie. Of course, Stargirl, gets everyone excited, kind of changes the culture, but there's none of that, preppy or popular girl. I mean, they talk about the popular girls, but we don't have any of that mean girl type stuff in this movie.
yep, yep,
Right.
and that's nice. That's pleasant.
Yep. Yep. So then Leo goes to her house to talk to her and picks up a rock with a face on it.
Mm-hmm. Sure does.
And takes that home. This is where we find out that Leo asked her to do
The Hot Seat TV
the hot
show,
seat,
right?
and she politely says, "No, thank you."
No, but thanks for asking.
Yes. Okay.
So very, very pleasant, sweet girl.
Yep.
And so when he's at her house, he picks up that rock with the face painted on it, and like she's coming out of the house, and he like tries to. He's embarrassed for being there, or like doesn't know what to say, so he like drops down to the ground behind the Jeep in the driveway. And then she walks out there and like lays down on the ground on the other side of the Jeep in the driveway to talk to him. Like, this is how we're going to talk. This is how we're going to talk, I guess.
That's right. Yeah.
Uh, and that, that kind of openness and that comfortable, with whatever the situation hands her, that's what kind of makes her a special character.
Yeah.
It's one of those character moments that is easily maybe overlooked, but it's really sort of builds who she is. So
Yeah.
Appreciated.
So then Leo goes home, and his mom it's nighttime. His mom's there, and you think she kind of has a clue what's going on at this point?
This is Leo's mom.
Leo's mom. Yeah.
She probably is aware that she's got a hormonal teenage son. Yeah.
Okay. And she doesn't know anything yet about Stargirl. She'll find that out later. But it seemed like she has an inkling that something's going on. He's coming home late. It's kind of he's acting a little different than what he's done in the past. So kind of lets it go at this time. He goes off to bed, and then we have our next scene.
Next scene, we're going to fast forward to the next home football game, it seems, right?
Yep.
And this is where they sing They Got the Beat. And this version, it's just her with her ukulele and the bass drummer, who may or may not be paying attention to what's going on. It seems
I think he's too busy watching the cheerleaders.
Could be. Yep.
Yeah.
But like for being a ukulele and a bass drum and just her voice, like what a fun little composition. Like I
Yeah.
really enjoyed it.
Yeah. Do you think? Okay, so if this were a actual football game, how much would they have to mic up these two to get it to fill the entire football stadium?
Uh, yes.
Yeah.
They would have to, no doubt. And
Some
now
serious
that
amplification would have to go on here.
now that the team's winning and people are actually showing up to the game, like it's
Yeah.
all the harder. But I'm willing to suspend reality or say they had some hardly noticeable microphone on her, and it's not hard to amplify a ukulele. It's an electric ukulele. You just plug in and
Yeah,
it's fine.
It's wireless, and she's wearing a lapel.
Yeah.
So yeah,
ain't no thing.
Okay. And the bass drums, the bass drums that are already
A bass drum's a bass drum, man.
It's already a filled instrument anyway. So
Right.
yeah, okay. And she's wearing like a sequin cheerleader uniform.
Or like sequins underneath the cheerleader uniform. Definitely is sets herself apart, right?
Yeah. So that was another question. Did she negotiate this? Like, hey, I'll join your cheerleading group, but I got to wear a sequin uniform.
She's gonna.
She's got some mad negotiation skills.
Stargirl's gonna Stargirl, right?
That's right. So, another thing that kind of stuck out at me in this scene as well is their QB, who's never won a game before, all of a sudden is Lamar Jackson.
He's I don't know who Lamar Jackson is.
So all of a sudden he's got like some mad running. I mean, he can like spin and jump, and he's like dodging linebackers, and
because he believes in himself.
He's like all over the place now, running 50-yard touchdowns, and they've never won a game before, and all of a sudden he can do this.
Yeah, he's probably freshman, sophomore. It's his first year as quarterback. He finally got his feet under him. He's feeling better. So
okay.
I don't know. Yeah. All right. Let me go back to the Wikipedia article here. We'll kind of catch up to what we've talked about.
Okay.
It becomes a good luck charm for the football team as she sings "We Got the Beat." She begins hanging out with Leo in an attempt to get him to come out of his shell. He converses with Archie, the owner of the local paleontologist camp, who reveals that Stargirl, much like Leo, lives with her single mother and that she was homeschooled much of her life. She is well aware of Leo after learning about him through Archie. Later, Stargirl tries out for the speech regionals against Kevin and wins with her unusual speech on rats, while anonymously returning a bike to a boy who was in the hospital. Okay. Leo mentions the ties. Oh, go ahead. Yep.
Yeah, I was going to stop there. Okay. So the Mud Frogs win. We got all that, right? Yep. We hear some kind of good biological information on mud frogs. So they spend most of their time sleeping in the mud for months. Then the rains come and they wake up, and
like in the dried mud, right?
Yes. So now the rain has come. The mud dogs are woken up. They're alive. They're doing their thing. So then, kind of to go along with what you just said, I just had a question of, why is this guy Kevin such a jerk? Why is his friend Kevin? He just seems like such a jerk.
Because Kevin doesn't win at much, but man, he wins at debate.
But it just seems like he's just treating. I think it's maybe his tone and maybe his demeanor. I mean, I know they're good friends, but he just seems like he's he's just coming over as a jerk. But
yeah, he's a bit of a butthole. Yep.
I do love Benny though. Their buddy that loves to eat, man. This guy knows. And if you look in the IMDb, his name is Benny Burrito.
I'm sorry, you broke up on me. Benny,
okay,
what?
His name in IMDb, his name is Benny Burrito.
Benny Burrito.
Yes.
Yeah, and he's always chewing on the breakfast burritos, right?
Yeah, he knows his burritos.
Yeah.
Something doesn't taste right.
It's funny. Okay, so she then anonymously returns a bike to a boy who is in the hospital. which is a major plot point or a upcoming plot point that we don't really know is important yet.
Yeah.
But she had, bought this bicycle from the pawn shop or the thrift store or whatever, and returns it to the family that had left it there. So she feigns knowledge of the ties. When he asks how she knew so much about him, she tells him that she has an office. And Stargirl gives a song suggestion to Leo 13 as he leaves. She kisses him for the first time. They then spend the semester dating. End of paragraph. So,
Okay.
like they're hanging out. They're, I think, officially a couple. They're, sharing music with each other. It's sort of, becoming an item.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, this is the kind of the end of the act, a little act break here of where they really become an item. I have a couple of comments that I guess, are we at the point where she makes it rain?
Yeah, I think that happens at this point in the movie.
Okay, so she's making it rain. All of a sudden, they're kind of sitting out in the desert. She's kind of talking about how she's like a styrofoam cup and just these different like meaningless object. And then she talks about that she's rain, and it all of a sudden starts to rain. But she's wearing. If she knew she was going to do this, she probably should have checked what she was wearing, because it looked like she was wearing some sort of fleece or argyle sweater that didn't look like it was made for wet weather.
Oh, that would ruin the surprise if she wore a raincoat.
I guess, but like you say, if she checked the weather forecast, I was like, maybe I shouldn't wear like fleece today. I don't.
Maybe,
So.
yeah. Yeah, like, yeah, practically wearing a sponge, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So, I don't know. It's a cute little high school relationship. They seem to respect each other and be learning from each other and really truly enjoy each other's company. It's cute.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
I
yeah,
think we
next.
get into the speech competition, right?
Well, I've got jump into the big game, but no, the speech competition, the
The school competition.
the school competition. Yeah, that
Yeah.
that happened. Yep.
Yeah. So we get that, and Kevin is up doing. We hear the end of his speech, and we find out that it's not social udia or social ustia; it's social media. But isn't
So up
that
front your
part?
parents.
Yeah, but isn't kind of what in it social you and us? I mean, it's in it that kind of what social media is like everyone.
Yeah, I think he didn't win the speech competition because it wasn't a good speech.
Yes. I mean, it felt like a very typical like high school speech ending, where
Yeah.
you have this definitely scripted type speech, and then it's like, in conclusion, it's this and this and
Like,
this. So
the first thing he actually wrote in his speech was the conclusion, and then it was like, oh, that's kind of witty. I wonder if I can write
work his way backwards. So then Stargirl gets up, and she said, "Do you know that rats like to hang out with other rats?"
Yeah. Yep.
So what do you think? How do you think the rest of that speech went?
I think it talked about how living around people, living with people is actually important, and we need to do our best to care about people,
Okay.
like rats
Okay.
care about rats.
But do rats care about rats?
I think they do.
Okay. Okay.
Is a group of rats called a murder? Is that right?
I think that's right. Or is that crows?
Oh man, I feel like I should know this.
All you zoologists out there, could you help us out some?
Male rats are called bucks. Unmated females, does. Infants, kittens, or pups.
So,
Group of rats is for a mischief of rats. Mischief,
is it,
not a murder.
So is it a murder of crows?
I think it's a murder of crows. Yeah.
Okay.
A mischief of rats.
Okay. So then we find out Stargirl beats Kevin. Everyone seems shocked.
Yeah, but only because Kevin has a reputation.
Yes,
not because they actually listen to the speech.
Because he's won the last two years. And also, are you surprised at how many people showed up for this competition?
Yes. My answer is yes.
It's like half the school shows up for this competition.
It must have been a required during the school
Yes.
day event. Yeah. Uh,
I think more people were at this competition than were at the first football game that we saw.
absolutely true. Yeah.
Okay, so then Leo goes back to visit Gus. I mean Archie. Kind of get
Right.
some more
Uh,
sage advice.
right. He's in full doc mode. Uh, dishing it back to him.
Yeah, don't go date your mom. Don't do that.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So, are we ready for the big game?
Yes.
Okay.
Wait. Hold on. Are we? No, not yet. I got a couple more things.
Okay.
I know we're kind of going a little long on this, but
That's all right.
I've got questions. So then Stargirl goes and gets the bike for the kid. We talked about that. We then find out about Big Star Band. So this is where they get their first kiss. Um, did you know about Big Star Band?
I was not familiar with Big Star. No.
I hadn't either. I had them up. So just quickly on Big Star Band, they were an American rock band formed in Memphis. The group broke up in early '75 and reorganized with a new lineup 18 years later,
Oh my.
following following a reunion concert at the University of Missouri. In its first era, the band's musical style drew on the Beatles, the Rolling Stones, and the Byrds.
Oh, like every other band that organized in 1975.
I guess so. So that's just kind of some interesting stuff on. So Big Star Band, actual band. When I looked them up, that album cover came up. So I think that song that he listened to was one of. She said listen to like track 4.
Yeah. Yeah. I
Yeah.
think it was called 13 was the name of it.
Oh, is that the name of the song? Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, then we see the montage, the sequin uniform. Okay. Yep. Big game. Let's go for it.
Okay.
Oh, so championship game. Championship game, Jay.
No, I don't think this is the championship game. I think it's just
They
a game against the defending champs.
No, that's not what I heard. I heard it twice, 2
Okay.
times.
Okay.
Well,
You
said,
are definitely the.
welcome to the championship game. That's what he says.
Okay. Okay. So it's the defending state champs
Yeah,
and their All American quarterback
all American quarterback. Yes,
against the Mud Frogs,
yes,
who having gone 0-72 streak are now on a 7-0 streak or something like that.
yes.
So
And get in the championship game.
yes,
Yes, against the
so
Jaguars.
the Jaguars.
Yes.
So their star quarterback, during some very believable football, gets injured,
Yes.
and nobody ran out to help him except for Stargirl. She runs over to check on him, and she rides with him to the hospital. I'm reading this off the Wikipedia page again, confusing
Okay.
everyone.
Okay.
Afterwards, Leo tells Stargirl that everyone was demoralized and that they lost because but they hang out together anyway. The next day, everyone's disappointed with Stargirl. Leo meets up with Kevin and the rest of the friends who are also upset, but forgive him, as well as apologize for being distant with him. Kevin decides to bring Stargirl onto his show so that she can explain herself. Stargirl reveals that her real name is Susan, that she chose Stargirl because everyone is made of stardust. The audience of students quickly turns on her when a student named Hillary scolds her for inconsiderately returning a bike to her brother who is permanently injured in an accident while riding it. Stargirl runs off in tears.
Okay. Okay. Here's kind of my thoughts. So I'm gonna go back to the game real quick.
Okay.
Okay. So we had a halftime show, which I'm guessing it was a halftime show. Be true to true to your school. So we had that again.
Reprise. Yep.
Reprise, but it was a little bit bigger production.
The band was much better.
The band was, I mean, they had gone through a complete retooling. They were in formation. They were in tune. They were snappy. You had the cymbal player danced all over the place. The cheerleaders were forming little hearts with their pom-poms. They had Stargirl up on a little pedestal. This was a well-organized production, Jay.
Yeah, the sound system was on point. I could hear her and the ukulele perfectly.
Okay, so if this was a championship game, which is that's what I heard, but
Okay.
if this was a championship game, were they the home team? Did the
There
other?
was a
Did the
shot of
other?
the scoreboard, wasn't there? Were they on the right side? They must have been.
Yeah, I guess they were. Because did the other team? If this is a championship game, did the other team get a chance? Did the other team get a halftime show?
No, Stargirl's reputation preceded her, and they were like, "We got to see this."
Okay. So if they were the home team, they were the home team against the defending state champs.
Right, because of alphabetical or something like that. I'm sure it was just
Okay.
a coin flip.
Okay.
Yeah.
Uh, so that, yeah, I counted earlier. There are 18 kids in the band. Then we got the injured player. Stargirl went out there because he was all alone. At least that's what she said.
His
But I
parents
did
don't love
notice
him.
his parents don't love him. But there was a trainer. The head coach was standing by. So there was someone out there. Now, I didn't play football, but I've watched a lot of football. And Leo is correct. No one goes out there. Like, usually it's just a trainer uh, or some sort of coach and the medical staff.
Right. Stargirl's got a big heart, and
Yes.
you can't stop Stargirl's heart. She's gonna follow her heart, and
Yep.
it said he needs somebody to hold his hand, and so she
Yes.
holds his hand, and he wants her to go with him in the ambulance. So,
Yeah, that was my other thing, is that she was allowed to go in the ambulance.
yep.
Okay.
It's sometimes you have to suspend your disbelief,
Yeah,
right?
and the parents didn't go with him in the ambulance.
Nope.
Okay.
I established that his parents don't love him.
Okay. Okay.
uh,
Let's see. So then Leo goes home. Well, I guess they go after the game. They meet up at his house. Uh, Said, we lost, in case you want to know, and she said Kovacs will be fine, in case you want to know. And then I was like, uh-oh.
right. Leo's thinking like the most important thing, our football team lost the game, and she's like,
Yes.
no, that's not important, because
Yes.
a person was injured,
Yes.
and they're okay, in case you want to know.
Yeah, and I'm kind of with her. He should have said, hey, how is the player? How is he doing?
Well, he couldn't see that.
Yeah, the whole school was focused too much on and we'll kind of get this in the hot seat later, that they were focused on him being injured, and because he was injured, no one should go out and help him because he's the enemy. He's the other team.
Right.
Yeah. And as high schoolers, that's kind of a concept that's hard to follow, because you're kind of not taught, but you grow up and you're kind of in this environment where that's the other team. They're the bad guys and we can't do anything to root for them, but you haven't yet learned they're still human beings. And even though they're injured, you don't want anyone to get injured. You want them to all be able to play at their full potential and in full health.
Yeah. I remember. I couldn't remember, but like coming to the realization that the pep rallies at my school weren't just unique to my school.
Yeah.
I thought that my school's pride was just top notch. Ain't nobody
Yeah.
got more pride than my school has for my
Yeah.
school. But
Yeah.
no, they do this at all the schools.
Yes. They take your same saying and replace it with your mascot.
So it turns out that we're not really anything special. No more special than the next guy.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. Funny. Okay.
So then Leo goes home, goes inside, and I seem like feel like I'm out of order here, but Leo goes home, goes inside, his mom is there, and she wants to know his name. She wants to know her name. He says Stargirl, and he has to repeat it because his mom doesn't really believe that that's her name. Laughs a little bit and then immediately regrets it.
Right. Yeah. Not a good look on mom.
No, and to be honest, it is an unusual name. It's a unique name, and it may be something that she thought he was either making up, or it was like a nickname that he thought up for her, and didn't realize that that's her actual name.
Yeah. So yeah, he's not feeling particularly good or particularly proud at this point in the movie.
Right. So everyone, all the whole school's kind of upset at Stargirl.
Yep.
Felt like they've lost their good luck charm. She left, the team lost, so it's all her fault. She's the bad guy.
She's the bad guy because she is magic or is not magic. I'm not sure yet.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah,
It's,
yeah. And
um,
it only impacts her direct location. Like it only goes within 100 feet of wherever she's at.
yeah, and unfortunately, the Mud Frogs losing their cheerleader was a bigger setback than the Jaguars. Jaguars
Jaguars,
losing their All-American returning
all
quarterback.
American, all American quarterback. They should have. This game should not have even been close, Jay.
Oh, their backup guy must be pretty decent too.
Well, I mean, but in the beginning, before he got hurt, this game should not have even been. There
Oh,
was times the Mud Frogs were leading this game.
yeah,
Yeah, this
they
game,
had Stargirl.
this game should not have even been close. I'm
Did you
sorry, Mud
hear?
Frogs.
Did you hear that rendition of "Be True to Your School"?
Yeah, your school is not good at football. That's the truth. So, okay, so Stargirl wants to go on the hot seat to kind of explain her side of the story.
Yep, she's willing to put it out there. Yep.
Yep, yep.
And she's confronted by the sister of the kid who was injured on the bike that she returned to the kid. And she says he is never going to be able to ride again. Thanks for the crappy gift.
Yeah, I was kind of confused by this. Like, could he never ride again because he got some sort of debilitated injury, or is it just because now he's scared of riding the bike?
Sounded to me like a
I was
permanent
unclear.
injury.
A
Yeah.
permanent injury, okay? Because
Yeah.
not riding a bike is a very specific activity. So I didn't know if this injury is now preventing him from playing baseball or whatever other activity, rollerblading or whatever it may be, or it was just, hey, he's now too scared to ride bicycles.
I took it as like he is unable to ride a bicycle. Like
Okay.
his leg is gone or something like that.
Okay. Wow.
To the point that he would not be able to ride a bike.
Okay. Okay. So we meet Hillary, and we find out that Stargirl's born name, the name she was born with, is Susan.
Yes.
Okay. So they seemed a little confused by this because Kevin asked her, "Is Stargirl your real name?" She said yes, and he seemed confused by that and said, "So that's the name you were born with?" And she said no. And then I guess they don't understand that you can change your name.
Apparently not.
Okay.
It's a pretty small town. People don't do that much, I guess. Yeah.
So she was born as Susan. At some point, she changed her name to Stargirl because people are born from Stardust.
Yep.
Okay.
Makes sense to me.
Okay. So we don't know. Like, did her mom have her change it? Did she say I wanted to change it? So still,
I think her
unknown.
mom is enough of a free spirit that
Okay.
when Susan said, "I want to be Stargirl," she's like,
Sure.
"All right,
Whatever.
Yeah, let's go to the courthouse and let's do it, Stargirl."
Okay. So then Hillary's really upset because of this issue with the bicycle, and kind of blames Stargirl. It says, you don't think about things, you don't listen to people or find out their feelings or get the real story. You just kind of do without thinking.
Right. You do what feels right to you, not what other people believe to be right. And
Yes.
If that's that can be trouble, I guess.
Yeah. Now we're about, what do we say, 2/3 of the way through this at this point.
Yeah.
Okay. It was a little before this. It was almost about the halfway point where I told my wife, I don't know what the plot is. Like, I don't understand where the conflict is. I understand it's kind of a coming of age teen movie, but I was still kind of waiting for a conflict or some sort of plot. What's the story? Still kind of waiting for that. I think when we get to this point, I think we're getting that. But I don't think they went deep enough into it.
Yeah, we're seeing, this kind of young love relationship. We're seeing her kind of spread this wake and uh give her good vibes out to the school. Um but we're not really seeing a lot of the results of that, other than this amazing second best team in the state football team. So uh yeah, I guess you know we can move on and
Yeah.
start to close this out a little bit. We got just a few more plot points here.
Yep.
Um,
Real quick, Leo goes to a diner to see his friends.
yep.
And they seem real upset at first that he's not hanging around, that he now has a girlfriend. I remember these days where you get a girlfriend and all of a sudden you stop spending time with your friends. And your friends kind of get a little upset about that.
Jealousy.
Yeah, and that's yeah. So you've now moved on to something new and different, and you're no longer spending time with them. But they kind of talk about it. They hash it out. Um, he's like, "Hey, I'm still trying to figure this stuff out. I still want
Right.
to be friends."
And also, guys, like, there's this girl. She kind of likes kissing me, and
Yes.
and I like that. So
Yeah, and again, Kevin's being the jerk. I think Leo said, "Hey, I have a girlfriend," and Kevin's like, "We don't all have girlfriends." And I'm like, "Dude, it's like,
go back to your Udia, your media,
yes,
social.
your Ustia."
All right, and get off my back, bro.
Yep. So then we
No,
kind
they
of get into. Oh, go
yeah,
ahead.
they patch up the fence just fine.
Yep. So then we get more into kind of the what I'm considering the plot and the conflict where Leo and Stargirl have a conversation about blending in and not being unique and doing what everyone else expects of you, that type of thing. And then that's where I kind of realize what this movie is about.
Okay.
Yeah, it's at kind of this point. I mean, it took me a while. I'm old. Okay, so I don't understand these newfangled concepts these teens are coming up with. So at this point, I kind of realized, okay, this is the hey, being unique, being an individual, being special. Not being a drone, whatever it may be. That hey, we need to stick out and kind of be our own person and not be someone that kind of sits in the background.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Um, I guess I'll read it off the Wikipedia page.
Okay, go for it.
Leo tries talking to Stargirl and suggests being like everyone else, much to her consternation. Later, Stargirl starts calling herself Susan and wearing clothes that are more like those of her classmates. She and Leo head to the speech regionals, where Leo asks her to the winter dance, and she accepts. Stargirl is about to give a speech on internet privacy, but quickly shifts to a speech on flowers, which wins her first place. Despite it being the very first trophy won at the school, nobody pays attention to it. Stargirl decides that acting as Susan is to act against who she is. She abandons the idea. Leo begins to feel awful, but gets encouragement from his mother and Kevin.
Yeah, so I didn't have a whole lot. All my comments are kind of just to go along with what you just read there. So yeah, she won the competition. She gets back. The principal's there waiting on her, just standing at the
Yeah.
trophy case, just hanging out. And so Stargirl gives her little plate that she won that's already got her name carved on it or engraved on it.
Mm-hmm.
They put it in the trophy case and they kind of stand there, and classes are dismissed. The bell rings, classes get out, everyone comes out in the hall and just passes them by.
Nobody notices.
Nobody notices that there's now this wonderful um, silver platter in their empty trophy case, um, and Stargirl's just wearing her like normal. She's not wearing her flowery, unique type dresses.
Right.
She's just wearing a normal dress, normal outfit. and so no one even notices that they're there.
Yeah, she kind of abandoned her unique self to
Yeah.
blend in, and lo and behold, she does blend in.
Yes. They have a kind of an interesting conversation, talking about being unique. And she was saying that speech I gave, that was Stargirl, that was me. Leo mentioned something about, being happy, or I thought that would make you happy. And she gave a very interesting statement. People aren't happy because they win because they're happy.
Do you believe that to be true?
Um, I think that's the hopeful side of Stargirl, that she's hoping that society wins because it's happy. But no, I think as individuals, when we win, we're happy. When we don't win, we get upset. But it's how you handle that loss that kind of shows your character. When I'm watching my favorite sports team on TV, and they don't win, well, I get upset, but I'm only upset for 5 or 10 minutes. To me, it's just a football game of a team that I root for. Now, those guys that are playing, it's different. They're actually putting everything they have into it. But as a spectator, I get happy when my team wins, and that's short lived. But then when they lose, I may be unhappy, but that's also short lived. So I think, to answer your question, Jay, as a society, yes, on the win because they're happy, but individuals, we like to be happy when we win.
I have long said that I would rather lose a close game than win a blowout, because it's more fun to play a close game, right? It's the enjoyment of a good battle
Yeah.
is better than uh, the feeling of winning.
Yeah.
And I remember like little league coaches saying like, hey, we're all out here just to have fun, and winning is fun.
Yeah.
And being like, no, guys, like you went too far. Like, we don't have to win. Like,
Yeah.
we can just come out here and have fun. It's okay just to have fun. And like, I guess this kind of spoke to me. Like, this is how I feel about sports a lot. You aren't happy because you win. You're a winner when you're happy. Like, let's
Yeah.
be happy and let's have fun, and then we all win. Like, it really can work that way.
Yeah.
So, like, I thought that there was a lot of truth in that. And I don't, I'm not a big football fan. I'm not a big organized sports fan, really. I don't have any team that I have claimed to be my own. I take no schadenfreude in watching other teams lose. That's just not me. It's not something that I have chosen to invest in, or
Yeah.
to invest my emotions in. And I liked that as a philosophy. People
Okay.
win because they're happy.
Yeah.
They're not happy because they win.
Yeah.
Um, so, yeah, I thought that was uh, a that might be sort of the axis point of who Stargirl is, right?
Mhm.
Like, let's
Yeah.
make people happy,
Yeah.
and then
Absolutely.
everybody wins. So,
Yeah. Okay. So kind of after that, then we find a little Kevin and Leo backstory. We find out that Kevin was actually the one that found Leo when he got beat up by the bullies and helped him up. And that's when they became friends.
yep.
Then we go to the dance that Stargirl said she was not going to go. She said she was not going to go with Leo, but she still went to the dance.
Right. And
Yeah.
she had sent him a message that there was going to be a big surprise at the dance.
Yeah.
So, to read from Wikipedia again, Leo shows up and he's pleased to see Stargirl there. She reveals her surprise, him singing in front of all the attendees. After some reluctance, Leo gets up and performs his and his father's favorite song, Just What I Needed, leading everyone to dance together in the courtyard. Um, uh, the live band at this winter dance was very good. Did you know this?
Yes. 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 I liked the was it the lead guitar player? He's like Um, he's really liking. He's digging on Leo's tie.
Yeah.
The was it the drummer? Or was it the keyboard? One of the other guys? They're kind of giving him encouragement. They played that lead in forever.
They were waiting for Leo to start singing, but
They just kept going forever, waiting for him to come in.
yep, they
This is I think is it their most famous song? Ours?
probably, yeah.
Yeah. It's a great song. I thought it was a lot of fun. Um, it's interesting that Stargirl was able to arrange this.
Yeah. Yeah. Uh, but she did.
Yeah. And then we get a nice guitar break, and then they all dance out into the courtyard.
Yep.
It starts snowing.
It starts snowing at their winter
Yep.
formal. Mm-hmm.
Yep. And then we find out after that, Stargirl was gone.
Right. So she stops and apologizes to Hillary. Then
Yes.
she disappears from the party.
Yeah.
Leo soon discovers that Stargirl moved away, but that her influence had affected the school in a positive way, with them eventually winning more trophies. And we see the trophy case with that little Susan Caraway plaque kind of tucked in the back, and all these other trophies and flowers around it.
Yep. So he does a little inner monologue talking, as the years go by, the stories get bigger. And one of the things he mentioned was there were stories that she played every instrument in the marching band. We had a one-man bander.
You know, something like that. Yeah. Maybe that's how they got so much better for that reprise of Be True to Your School.
But what happened to Stargirl? I mean, so she was only there for what, a couple weeks?
Well, for maybe
a couple
a
months.
few months,
Yeah.
but she had been homeschooled before that, and she had lived in town that whole time
Yes.
with her mom. So it's not like she just showed up. She had been around, sort of learning all about everybody, and loving on the town without them knowing it. Yeah.
So at the very end, then we see Leo going and visiting Archie again, and Archie takes Leo out to this building that they're calling Stargirl's office.
Right. Nothing nefarious is going on in Archie's outbuilding back there. Don't worry.
Just news clippings and photos. It's like,
yeah, there's a red thread that connected. It was kind of like what's that movie with Nash, and he sees all the numbers and it builds up the beautiful mind. It's a beautiful mind. Yeah. Kind of like her beautiful mind.
Yeah. So I found this a
yeah.
little weird, a little creepy, that she's got news clippings and photos of Leo as a kid wearing his tie, and I'm like, well, where did she get these? And she's got like the dirt on everybody in town, and what's going on here?
Well, she sees people, and she sees people's needs, and she tries to fill people's needs without having to take credit for them. If there is such thing as altruism, Stargirl is that, or at least that's her goal. Yep.
Okay, so then the movie ends and we get credits, but just like in the Marvel movies, we get a post-credit scene.
Yeah.
Did you stick around for the post-credit scene?
I did. I was taking notes and I let it play, and I saw the song. It was a nice little tag at the end of it. It was Stargirl singing to Leo.
Yep, just a little ditty. It wasn't very long. I didn't even catch. I don't even think there were any words. I think it was just kind of a lot of oohs and ahs, and her playing her ukulele, and them looking longly into each other's eyes.
Wikipedia says the name of it is Today and Tomorrow.
Okay. Now, I think this movie was released along with an album that she was releasing. They kind of released in parallel. So maybe this was a song that was on that album.
Yeah. I don't know anything about that, but uh, I appreciate this kind of music. It's something that I feel like I would like to have on, or to, if my 6-year-old daughter was like, I want to listen to this music, I'm totally not going to object.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
it's not going to be like the kids bop stuff that drives me up the wall, or worse yet, the stuff that the kids bop music is, the originals. Like
yeah.
some of this stuff is, whew, that's rough on my old ears, my middle-aged man ears. But uh,
Now, did you watch this with any of your kids?
I did not. I watched it
Okay,
with my wife, who,
okay.
uh, like I said, she read the book, and she said the movie's pace matched the book's pace, which was slow,
Yes.
and the unbelievable parts were still unbelievable, and I guess that's just what it is. So
Okay. Yeah, I mentioned earlier this was a very long hour and 42. I felt they could have cut 15 minutes out of this somewhere along the way. I think I got halfway through it and I was like, surely I'm almost done. No, I was only halfway through it. It's a long, slow movie.
yeah, there were some parts that it definitely felt like, man, we gotta move this forward here.
Yeah. If it weren't for the songs, and the songs were brief, it would have been, I mean, it's a slog. It's a slog to get through. But if it weren't for the song, it would have been really, really bad.
Yeah. No, I appreciate the message,
Yep.
that, you know, it's sort of that butterfly effect, right? If you do good, the good will continue, and it will brighten the next person's day, and that person will brighten the next person's, and that person will brighten the next person's. And, you know, in your wake, you've affected a lot of lives, and it's a nice message. And, uh, the message of, winning isn't the most important thing, but being happy is the most important thing. Then you win.
Yeah. Yep.
Then we all win.
Yeah.
And like, I appreciate that kind of message, and I think that we are good to um, to understand that, and to get that from the movie. The movie itself, I don't know that I want to see it twice, let alone twice in a week. So good on you for that.
Yeah, I don't know if I'd watch this again. I mean, obviously, it's not my genre, and I would only. My wife asked me, mentioned several times, "You're watching this? Are you really?" I said, "Only reason I'm watching this is because Grace is in it. It's not really, it's not my type of movie. Obviously, it's a teen movie. It's not my area, but I thought Grace did a fine job. She was, as you mentioned at the beginning, it's really her type of character. On IMDb, it's got 6.2 stars out of 10. Um, uh, I was looking for the Rotten Tomatoes. I don't have the Rotten Tomatoes in front of me, but I mean, it's getting decent reviews. It's not terrible, but it's really for a certain crowd.
Yeah, and I think we're a little bit older than maybe their target audience, like you said.
Yes. Yeah.
um let's see, Rotten Tomato has 71% on their thermometer, and audience score of 83%. So
Okay. So people are liking it.
yeah. um and it's a fun, cute movie. It made me smile at parts. Like I said, I appreciate the message. uh don't need to see it again.
Yeah.
So
It's a Disney movie.
it, yes, it is
It's a
very
it's a
much a Disney movie.
it's
That's a
a
great
Disney
way
movie. Yeah.
to put it.
Okay, so I was kind of thinking of a rating system for us.
Okay.
Since we don't have stars or anything, we have X's in our AGT world.
Oh,
Okay, so
okay.
we
All
have
right.
golden buzzers and we have X's. So like a golden buzzer would be like the 5 star. That's the best thing, but each X you're given knocks off part of the score.
Okay.
Okay,
Okay.
and if you get 4 X's, then it's the worst movie ever made.
Right. Well, I'm
Okay,
I'm not going to boo it off the stage by any
yeah,
means.
yeah.
So, like, in total, you have 2 X's and I have 2 X's to give, or I suppose we could give
No,
more than that if we.
we each can give a golden buzzer or all 4 X's.
All
So
right.
it's
Well,
it's individual scores.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm not going to give it the golden buzzer. I'm not sending them through to Hollywood, but I think I could give them 1X and feel perfectly good about saying, hey, this is a fine movie for most audiences. Nothing to feel afraid of showing to your kids. There's a fine message, and maybe it'll help them sort out some of their emotions or encourage them to be better people. So,
Yeah,
I'll knock it 1X for being a very Disney movie,
yeah.
but perfectly enjoyable.
Yeah, I would kind of go along. I think I'd be 1X as well. I'd kind of be the Howie in this one. It's not my type of movie, but I could kind of see where it fits a certain audience. I don't personally enjoy it, but I'm not gonna boo it off the stage or anything. But so yeah, I'd be right along with you of giving it 1X. The others would probably put it on through to the next round and kind of see what it's gonna do.
And America, you need to vote.
That's right.
If you're going to go full Howie Mandel on it.
That's right. You need to vote, 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 vote. Okay, good. So
Ooh,
we got all that covered. That's it's a little bit longer than we do on a normal AGT night.
man, if you thought the movie was long, wait until you listen to the hour-and-a-half podcast about it.
So okay. So that's really all I've got for that. Do you have anything else you kind of want to go over real quick, Jay, before we head on out?
I think we better put a bow on it.
Yeah, I think we need to put a bow on it. We need to kind of disappear like Stargirl does and leave with a good message. We'll look at having something for April. We've kind of got something lined up. Need to work out the details on it. We hope to have something pretty interesting for April. So we'll keep y'all
Yeah.
posted on that.
All right. Wash your hands. Be good to your family. And take it easy, everybody.
Stay 6 feet away.
All right. Bye.
Bye.